I don't know what to talk about.
Let's start on this dream delusion that we're walking around in all the time. I keep thinking, son of a gun, if this is a dream delusion, then what am I doing this for? And I have all sorts of questions that keep coming to mind. Why, if I'm dreaming this, what the son of a gun am I dreaming such an effort program? And then I keep thinking, well, when am I going to wake up? And I don't even wake up when I go to sleep, so I don't know waking up what it means.
Or why not dream just what you want?
Not worried about it.
Angels and... that's the basic difference, I think, before and after. You people think I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. It's not true. And no matter what we do together in the shop, I never see what you see. This is queer, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd rather see what you see than what I see.
Please, be my guest.
He's trying to get you to do that.
But why don't you see it? After all this time, you've had a direction pointed how to go all the way, and none of us have really gone all the way. We've all gone to the place where life is nice and easy, comfortable. We're satisfied, but not totally, but satisfied enough not to go all the way. Is it that what I promised would be there isn't enticing enough? I guess it wasn't made promising enough, was it? Why should you go all the way?
Well, I'd like to go all the way, but it's always over the next hill. I get to this point and it's not there, and then I get to that one and it's not there.
Not really. It's right where you are. Over the next hill is where it ain't. Right where you are, where the eye of you is where it is. See, everyone is infinite, all-powerful, all-knowing, right now.
How come we don't know it easier?
Yeah, how come? That's what I want to know. No, but what is the answer? I say it's silly not to, because once you do, you'll never ever have a moment of unpleasantness ever again. It's impossible to be unhappy. And if there is a problem, it's just not showing how happy you are. What's wrong with that? Why don't we do it? I would say you don't believe me. You don't believe it. You don't believe that you have no limits. You don't believe that life can be every second ecstatically happy. You don't believe that it can be totally effortless. You don't believe that you can do things mentally. Even build apartment houses mentally, like that. Now if and when you find out you're not going to do it because the others of you would be too shocked. And so as not to impose upon them, if you do it in your privacy, so to speak. But what's wrong with that? Mentally doing things. I'm really asking, why don't we want to go all the way? And I'm saying if we do want to go all the way, we do it. We all have exactly what we want. We all have the sum total of our thinking. And I think we, as a group, accept that. So again, why don't we go all the way? What's bothering us is that we're afraid we're going to lose the body, we're going to lose our homes, we're going to lose our families. It doesn't happen that way. I'll brag to the point that I'll say, I did go all the way. I still got a body, I'm still here, and I got a big family now. Really hundreds. I didn't lose anything, I got more. You don't disappear. The happiness gets more and more intense the more we move toward total freedom, until it reaches a point you just can't contain it anymore. And then you resolve it into a very beautiful peace that is never, ever again disturbed. And that peace is really far more delicious than that intense joy was. And then when you choose to be in the apparent world, you'll never ever lose that background that you feel all the time. And you can do anything in the world. You can act angry, scared, poor, rich. You can do anything you want. You don't disappear. The world can never touch you again, because you see the truth. Now, I can't help always see this world just the way you see a moving picture of this world. So when I hear about Vietnam and killing and so forth, it's really the same as it is to you when you're watching a moving picture. It has a story in it that there's a war going on and people are being killed. So why don't you come along?
I'm not strong enough to just say, well, this isn't it. I'll do it the other way. Because then I cross my fingers and I say, what if it doesn't work?
You expect it not to work if you say that.
Yeah. But that's where the hang-up is. Maybe it's a lack of faith. Not that it hasn't worked for you, but whether it'll work for me.
Right. You don't take the direction. You look at it and stand still. Get to the place where no one and no thing will disturb you. Would have taken you all the way. Be totally selfless.
Totally selfless.
Be interested only in others. Have no interest in you yourself. If we would be totally selfless in our behavior every day, act not for ourselves, but for the other ones. Try to help them get what they want. Do what they want you to do, rather than what you want to do. This would do it rapidly. I'll give you another one. Get to the place where you have no more desire. Keep letting go of desires until there are no more. That's it. If anyone would carry that through until there's no more desires, and it's just letting go of them as they come up, you go to the top. But why haven't we used these things? These are nothing new.
That's what really I'm earnestly trying to decide for myself. This is ridiculous, all this intellectual knowledge that I've acquired and what little I've actually done with it. And it's alarming. I told Vivian how many people have their own private master in their family, Pete. And then you've given us all this stuff, and then I say, well, it's my responsibility what I do with it. Why haven't you?
Yeah, your private master is you, and is in your family. Oh no, it's you.
Oh, you're mixed up there.
No, this is important. Your private master is you.
Isn't there only one anyway?
When you see what you are, you'll see no more otherness. You'll see everyone as you.
I try to squint. No matter how I do it, I still see
That's
separation.
the way you're approaching it, with squinty eyes all the time. You won't look at it full view, wide open, because you're afraid you're going to lose something. You're afraid you're going to lose your body, number one.
Well, not consciously, I'm not afraid.
No, but it's subconscious and it's effective. You're afraid you're going to disappear. So what you have to do is to dig down within, pull it out on the table and see it. Once you see it, you'll naturally let go of it. You're really afraid you're going to lose your personality, your individuality. And the individuality is something you'll never, never lose. It's with you through eternity. The I that I am never, ever is lost. What happens, we just expand it to include more and more, until it includes the entire infinity. But I say you're afraid of losing yourself, your body, your mind, your family, your business, all your little things. You're afraid you're going to lose them, subconsciously. I mean, if you were conscious, you'd laugh at it and you'd be a fully realized being.
Why can't I see what I are?
Because you're afraid if you do, you're going to disappear. Does anyone feel that you'll disappear if you go all the way?
Afraid I'd lose my mind. That's exactly what you have to do.
No.
That's truth in reverse, Bob.
You actually do lose your mind, and then you struggle like hell to reestablish it so you can communicate. It's far more difficult to reestablish the mind than it was originally to let go of it, because the mind itself is such a clamping down of you. You don't want to come back to it. But you will. You'll start thinking again. And the only difference in the before and after picture is now you're thinking through compulsion, motivated by subconscious thoughts. In the after picture, there's no more subconscious mind, so every thought is a totally free thought. If I think walking up the stairway, and you think walking up the stairway, it's the same thing. But in my behavior, I'm free. Only because I've undone the subconscious mind. It doesn't motivate me anymore. Whereas you still have subconscious thoughts motivating you, actually enslaving you into being very limited. I never used to talk about the miracles much, did I? See, I'm more back in the world now than I have been in the past 18 years, 17 years. So I can brag more. I don't feel as though I'm imposing on you now as it used to feel if I were to talk about miracles. But when I first moved out to Sedona by myself, everything was done by thought. I just sat, and whatever I thought would be. I might have told you, it even happened with others. I must have told you about that teleportation incident. This one was a cute one because it involved two others. One who was accepting of this path, and a third one who was totally non-accepting. This fellow Dmitri, son of Tony, you all know Tony, wanted to come up to Sedona from Phoenix and asked me if I would take a walk with him, and I said, yes, when you come up I will. The day he came up, I was physically exhausted for no reason at all, except I felt that way. We started walking, and naturally he would choose a path going up a hill. We walked a few miles uphill with Francis, Dmitri, and I. And when we got to the top, the end of our trip, I said, okay, let's drink the water now. I told them not to drink until we get up to the top, because coming down is easier than going up, and once you start drinking water, you want more and more and more. So we only had a pint of water for three of us, and we drank it up. Then we started walking down. We walked only a short distance, and we were thirstier than before we drank that water. And we had a little tiny bit of water, maybe an eighth of an inch of water in the bottom of this canteen. But the three of us were thirsty, and I let go, and I feel everything is perfect. You want to drink, Francis? Sure. They were small cups. There was a small cup. Fit it over the top of the thing. I gave Francis a drink, Dmitri, we kept drinking. We each had 7 drinks until everyone was satiated. I looked back in the thing, the same amount of water was in there as was originally, just about an eighth of an inch on the bottom of the canteen. I just thought. Then we took some more steps, and I felt as though I couldn't walk anymore. And I just let go, and I say, oh, Lord, there must be a better way. And then I said, well, of course, everything is perfect. And as I said perfect, the three of us had one step up there, and the next step was down on our grounds with Quarry Hill between my house and where we landed, so as not to make it obvious to Dmitri. Francis caught it and said, Lester, we teleported. I said, oh, you're crazy, Francis, and you're imagining it, because Dmitri's mind he had a frown and a consternation. His head was hurting him. And so I had to say, it's your imagination, Francis, and I shut her up. And we went back. I went back to the ranch house, and the two of them went to the cottage. The next day when Francis came in, I wasn't sure that she knew, because it's so smooth, it's so perfect. This is the point I want to make. When you're in tune, everything is perfect. Dmitri doesn't know that it even happened. Francis knew. When she came back, I said, what made you think we teleported? And she laughed again. She said, don't you remember on the way up, Dmitri and I were collecting rocks, and in several places we put it on the left-hand side of the road. See, the road was cut into the side of the hill, and I wanted to pick up those rocks on the way back, and we bypassed every one of those places. Now, to do these things, it's a mere effortless thought. You let go, and you have a thought with no push, drive, or anything to it. It's the easiest thought you could have. And it happened. Now, when I first moved into Sedona, into the ranch, I was living this way all the time. I couldn't see it. To me, it was so natural. Whatever I thought I expected is just as natural as the way everyone lives. You know, it's really meant for us to live that way. Although if we did it in our present society, we wouldn't fit in very well. So when you see these things, it doesn't matter. So you go the way of people. Miracles are just this dream world shortcut. And miracles don't necessarily mean spiritual development, because the majority of people in the universe use these things. They use them on other planets. And they're not spiritually advanced. It's their way of life. They think things and things happen. On some planets they'll have in-between states where there's calculators, computers, and they feed some of the data in like we do, and some of it they feed in mentally. They're in the in-between state. But the easiest way to live is purely mentally. Mentally do everything. You people should be able to do all this. Why don't you want to? Why do you want to do things the harder way? I think it's because you're afraid you're going to disappear. I'm saying, look, I did these things. I got a suit and a tie on it, and I got a body here. I didn't disappear. I'm trying to entice you. When I first moved in with the trailer, someone said, how often do you change refill that little butane bottle? And I said, every month. I said, gee, it was 8 months ago. Last time I put gas in it. When I was trying to show Frances how to conserve water, I let her fill my 55-gallon drum, out of which I took a shower every morning and took care of all my needs. And the reason why I wanted her to take care of it, I wanted to show her that you can live on 5 gallons a week. But I lost track of time. And when I brought it to her attention, she laughed at me. I think it was 4 or 5 months I let go by before I mentioned it to her. And so I kept using water, and my tank wouldn't empty out. If I remember right, when we opened it, it was still full. After using it for months, it never would have emptied out if I had not let go of it.
See, not let go of it. Do you mean you...
Undone it.
You thought again of it being a limited thing.
No, I choose to live like people live. Because if I live that way, I'm out of communication, I scare people.
You wouldn't scare anybody to keep the tank full.
I'm telling you, it scares people.
The vice president would go out of his mind.
See, when I first hit it, I was in New York City. And quite a few people wouldn't come near me because of these things happening.
Maybe it's because you didn't use any water. Maybe it's because you didn't empty any water. Not fair here. I would have done something about what he thought is the
No, he's right. Not only did I do without water, I did without food in New York City. That's just a thought. You can take your energy directly. What's wrong with all these things? Why won't you take them? They're yours. I'm trying to bribe you now. Look at the difficulties you go through to make a living.
He's talking to both of us, Art.
To all of us. On the other planets, they don't work for a living. They let nature serve them. That's why they can zoom from there to here in 1 second.
Lester, I work for the fringe benefits. Do you guarantee fringe benefits?
I think we're all on the fringe because we're really objecting to all these limitations. Aren't we kind of fringy people today? But I do think it would be a good thing for you to work on, to ask yourself, why don't I go all the way? Why don't I take things directly, just by the thought for it? Why don't I express my total freedom? And maybe the answer will come up and you'll see what you're doing to hold yourself down.
Well, one reason I guess, as I was thinking of it, is that we are so used to being hampered that we don't realize that we can get out of it. Because I was just thinking of it with the motel. I was getting in exchange, and I think, well, now do I want to leave or not? And I know I kill it every time. And this is, so I know
Yeah,
that I have
that's
to
true.
get out of
Your
it.
habit of thought runs you. This is what I'm saying. But the way to undo all habit of thought, which is subconscious mind, is to see what you are. Take a full look at yourself.
Oh boy.
And you, by looking at yourself fully, you will automatically scorch the entire mind.
This is what you tell us a little more about. Scorching that mind, which is most important, which I have found out.
See, you got a realization just recently
That's right.
that the one who's going to do it is you, right?
That's right. I'm going to.
And yet
I
you
know
didn't
that.
carry through on it. With that realization, you could have gotten quiet and said, yeah, only I can do it. And look at me, boy, I am infinite. And with that infinite power, you just pass your hand over the mind and it's finished. It's just a mental wipeout, which you do. And that's it. You know how long it takes? Less than that. Less than a second. When you get your realization, it's instantaneous. You play around with a little bit less limitation, a little bit less limitation. This goes on and on, year in and year out, until you decide to let go of the whole thing. And then you've got full realization. It really comes instantaneously when it comes. You really will it. See, will is your power. If you turn on your will so strongly, you just undo the whole mind. And that's your only enemy, the unconscious mind.
This just doesn't make any sense at all. It's just like you're handing me all the money in the world and say, here. And then I'm sitting there and saying, why don't I take it?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
What is? That's the big question I'm presenting. What is wrong? I know you all believe that this is possible. Otherwise you wouldn't have listened in the first place.
It's the intellect that's in the way.
Well, why not wipe it out? This is it, Well, why not?
I don't have intellect, I'm dumb.
That's the apathetical dumb or the other end?
I don't.
The intellect is the mind. It's the mind we have to undo. We have to see that we're not the mind. When we see we're not the mind and it is out there, then we just make it ineffective. Just like that. That's the way you'll do it.
Lily
Yeah, I
says,
always
"I'm
think that
gonna-"
way. I myself, I never ever move. Honest. So help me God. I never ever move. But I'll send Lester and this body around and make it appear to be doing things. Now, after I got the realization, it took me years before I could use the word I. People would laugh at me. I'd talk about Lester. I'd talk about him. And sometimes I'd say it. Lester. Lester he. I couldn't, even though I was being corrected every time, I couldn't say I. Why? I was not this thing. I could talk about this thing, but the conviction was so obvious and glaring. I couldn't say I was this thing any more than you could say you were the floor, or you were your car, Your car carries you around. This might be a better illustration. You're driving around, and would you call yourself the car? The same way you'll look at this body sometime. This is a carcass. I say you're silly not taking all that money, Ken.
I think there's a stronger word than silly.
It's really stupid.
That?
He made me say it. He made me say it. It's so stupid to go through life with anything but extreme contentedness and joy and peace and loveliness every moment, when that is your natural state. And it takes no effort to be what you are, but it takes extreme effort to be what you are not. A body with limitations and troubles and sicknesses and needing this and needing that. It takes effort to be what you're not, but to be what you are takes as much effort as you women need to be female, as much effort as you men need to be male. It takes no effort to be what you are. And yet you persist in using effort to be what you're not. It's really stupid.
Well, I persist in using effort to try to be what you... I keep working at this thing of being effortless. Does that make sense?
No, does it?
Not to me.
Right. There's something wrong there.
What did I say? You really said that.
You're using effort and trying to make yourself effortless.
Yeah.
Impossible.
I just get
You can't
bogged
go
down
up.
more.
You can't go up by going down. It's a contradiction. You've got to stop using effort. You've got to let go and let be. That's what they mean by let go and let God. You're it. You're the God. Let go and let yourself be.
If I could arrive at the dreamer instead of the dream, then I'd have it made. And that's what I've been trying to think. For the last few days, I keep saying, this is a dream. And then I think, where's the dreamer? I mean, whose dream is this?
The truth is, it's the dream dreaming the dream. But to make it a little more intimate, I, the infinite being,
Is a dreamer.
am dreaming that I am a limited body. Now, while you're in that night dream, and you think you're a body in that night dream, it persists, that body, if you don't wake up, and the body's real. It's the same thing with this waking state. We're dreaming we're bodies. We have to wake up to the fact that we are infinite. We have to stop dreaming that we're bodies, that's all. Stop dreaming. Let go. Let be. Surrender is the word. If we would surrender this moment, that would be it. Not I, but thou. Not my will, but thy will. What will be, will be. This is surrender. We could do that. Right now, that would be it. But no, we got to be a busybody doing something. That's an excellent way to look upon the body as a robot. That's what it really is. There's an automatic pilot on the body called the subconscious mind. We've said it, every subconscious thought at one time had to be conscious. And so it's like an automatic pilot running the body, running things. We have lost sight of the fact that we set it on automatic, and we don't even know that we've done it. except that we're being told that we've done it. But I think we've all seen how we automatically run ourselves through our subconscious mind. All right, now I'll tell you something else. If you believe me and what I've said so far, you'd go home and you'd forget everything and you'd sit down until you saw this. Because this would give you everything, just for the thought. If you believe me, you'd go home, determined to sit until you see this. And if you did that, you'd see it. Just like Buddha did. He left his throne and fortune, sat under his tree, wouldn't get away from there until he saw the answer, and he saw the answer. When I say believe, you do believe it, but not nearly enough. If you believed it enough, then you'd go home, and you wouldn't get up until you saw this truth. And you know how long it would take you? No time, really.